These are so atrocious. Young Thug told everybody that Gunna was a snitch. I'm telling you this, I don't give up.
So Young Thug just got out of jail and he's been pretty quiet until now. Today he finally spoke out after DJ Academics dropped some big claims saying that Thug and Lil Baby were calling Gunna a snitch, trying to mess up his career. But if you want to understand Gunna's response, you've got to know what Thug did first. As soon as Thug got released, he tweeted something wild. Wham. Let's drop one on these rats. For those who don't know, Wham is a nickname for Lil Baby, who's had Thug's back the whole time and even called out Gunna for supposedly snitching during the trial. Lil Baby was down to work with Thug and said, "We should," but then things really kicked off when Thug went live on Instagram with T.I. There, Thug threw some serious shade, saying, "I got out and did it the right way." It was clear he was taking a shot at Gunna. Then Thug took to Twitter again, telling Gunna, "Stop acting like we're friends on the internet. I don't know you, my guy." Gunna's brother didn't hold back either, replying on Instagram, "Trust and believe. The feeling is mutual." But Thug wasn't done. He hopped back on Instagram Live, clearly enjoying himself and joking around, saying, "Yes, a goat can go live." It got even crazier when he dropped a random "Stink, I miss you." Fans were totally confused. What's going on here? Just when you thought the drama couldn't get crazier, reports came out that Gunna had been followed and approached by some local gang members. Many people immediately linked it to Thug, thinking it might be revenge for the whole snitching thing. But then, just 20 minutes later, Thug posted a video of himself in the studio showing off his jewelry and looking happier than he's been in years. He was living his best life. The whole Thug vs. Gunna situation is getting really confusing though. Lil Baby defended Thug when news of Gunna's alleged snitching broke, but Thug's father actually came out in defense of Gunna, even calling out Lil Baby. Fans started wondering, did Gunna pay off Thug's father to make himself look better after all the snitching accusations? Thug's dad wasn't having any of it though, saying that Gunna hadn't done anything to hurt the case and that people didn't understand the situation. The plot continues to thicken as more details emerge about the ongoing feud between Young Thug and Gunna and the drama surrounding their respective projects. A leaked phone call recently added fuel to the fire, suggesting that Thug asked Lil Durk to drop a diss track aimed at Gunna right when Gunna is gearing up to release his surprise album. What makes this even more interesting is the fact that the two albums are set to drop on the same day, which fans are already speculating is no accident. It seems like Thug is ready to go all in, and he's bringing his friends and collaborators along for the ride. This move is already setting the stage for what could be one of the most talked about music release weekends of the year. Thug, who's been laying low for a while, is now working on his own surprise album, which fans are anticipating could be a massive hit. It's safe to say that expectations are high, especially with the tension surrounding his release and the complex legal battles he's faced. His new project could be more than just music. It could be a statement not only about his personal journey, but also about his stance in the ongoing drama with Gunna. Meanwhile, Gunna, who had his own surprise album ready, is now caught in a whirlwind of accusations, allegations, and the constant questioning of his loyalty to Thug and YSL. The album release, which initially seemed like a fresh start for the rapper, is now under the shadow of the beef with his former collaborator. Fans have been divided, with some still supporting Gunna despite the accusations, while others see his actions as a betrayal. Gunna's journey to redemption is going to be a long and complicated one, and it's clear that his album release won't be the fresh start he might have hoped for, especially with Thug and his camp clearly not letting the issue slide. But it's not just about the music, it's about the people around Thug too. Reports recently surfaced that after Thug's release from prison, Drake paid him a visit, and it wasn't just a casual catch-up. Sources say that Drake handed Thug a whopping $2 million as a welcome home gift. That's a pretty massive show of support, especially considering the circumstances surrounding Thug's case. This act has left fans buzzing, with many interpreting it as a sign of solidarity between the two, but also as a way for Drake to help Thug get back on his feet after all the legal battles he's faced. While some might see this as a generous gift, others wonder if this is just another power move in the complicated dynamics of the rap game. With Thug already facing so much legal and public pressure, having the support of a major artist like Drake could serve as a strategic advantage both in terms of personal connections and business. The two have been linked for years, and it's clear that their relationship goes beyond just music. But whether this gesture is a simple act of friendship or a calculated move to help Thug rise from the ashes of his legal troubles remains to be seen. As if all this wasn't enough, the fact that Thug and Gunna's beef is still alive and well means this entire situation is just getting messier. Fans are constantly trying to decipher every move they make, whether it's through leaked conversations, surprise album drops, or high-profile visits. And despite the release of their albums, it's clear that this feud won't be disappearing anytime soon. With tensions continuing to rise and more details spilling out, the question on everyone's mind is, how will this all play out? Will the albums be the final word, or is there more to come? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, the drama between Thug and Gunna is far from over.
Young Thug absolutely won that plea deal for so many reasons. One, the prosecution got none of what they wanted when you think about what the charges were and what.
All right, so here's the thing about Thug and his comments on Gunna after he got out. He might be digging himself into trouble. Why? Because he's supposed to be keeping a low profile under his probation term. Stirring the pot like this could really backfire. Academics recently pointed out that this whole situation could be a setup to get Thug back in jail. The next 15 years of probation he's facing make it way too simple for him to slip up once and end up back in the system. And while some of his fans think he beat the case, that's not exactly the truth. If you beat the case, you don't have all these restrictions. But Thug does, so while he's free, there's still a lot hanging over him. Think about it, minus 15 years of probation where every move is being watched. He can't even be in Atlanta, can't talk to his co-defendants, and can't make music or promote anything related to gang activity. That's a lot to handle, especially when his music is about his life. Every time he raps about his experiences, they could say he's promoting gangs. It's a tough spot to be in. And let's be real, even if you're not a fan of Thug, you can't deny how much this trial took out of him. You saw him gain weight, and we all know he wasn't ever that heavy. It's good to see him out, but we still have to keep an eye on how everything plays out, especially with all the ongoing drama. Despite what some people think, though, a lot of legal experts actually say Thug got a pretty good deal considering the crazy charges he was facing. Now, it's up to him to stick to his probation terms, but honestly, he came out pretty well. The prosecution didn't get what they wanted, and when you look at the charges they threw at him versus what he pled to, he definitely avoided some major time. Plus, he saved himself from some serious civil lawsuits. Let's break down the complex legal situation surrounding Young Thug, which has captivated the public's attention for the past few years. Thug was initially hit with a whopping 8 charges, but the 2 charges that really stood out were incredibly serious. These charges accused him of being the leader of a criminal gang allegedly involved in murders and a range of violent crimes throughout Atlanta. These charges could have easily led to a life sentence considering the gravity of the accusations. So when the news broke that Thug didn't plead guilty to these charges, it was seen as a major win for him. Had Thug pled guilty to those charges, it would have meant serious time behind bars. We're talking about a substantial prison sentence that could have ruined his career and future. But that wasn't the only thing Thug had to worry about. There was also the threat of civil suits from the families of the victims allegedly harmed by the gang's actions. If Thug had admitted guilt, these families could have taken him to court, demanding financial compensation for their losses, which would have been a massive financial burden on top of his legal troubles. But in a surprising turn, Thug decided to plead no contest to those charges, which is essentially a way of not admitting guilt but not contesting the charges either. This move was a calculated one. By pleading no contest, Thug avoided a formal admission of guilt, which kept him out of the crosshairs of civil lawsuits. The judge in the case accepted his plea, despite the prosecution's objections. They weren't happy with the decision, as they had hoped to nail Thug with a harsher sentence. They argued that Thug was one of the ringleaders of this alleged criminal organization and his actions had caused significant harm to the community. But the judge decided to let the plea stand, which was a significant break for Thug. However, the situation didn't end there. The YSL Young Stoner Life trial was far from over. While Thug had managed to get some relief with his plea deal, there were still many other individuals connected to YSL facing serious charges. Some of them had already pled guilty, while others were still fighting their cases in court. The ongoing nature of the trial meant that Thug's legal troubles weren't fully behind him. He might have avoided the harshest charges, but the broader implications of the case still loomed large. What makes the situation even more complicated is the public's reaction. Thug's fanbase remains fiercely loyal, with many seeing him as a victim of a broken justice system, while others question his association with the criminal activity he was accused of leading. In the face of all these challenges, Thug's legal team continues to fight for his freedom, and it's unclear how the remaining YSL members will fare in court. Some fans argue that the entire case against Thug is part of a broader effort to take down his entire label and influence, pointing to the way the authorities have targeted YSL specifically. While Thug may have avoided the worst-case scenario in this round, his journey isn't over. The coming months will likely bring more developments as the remaining trials unfold and more revelations emerge. Whether Thug can truly move on from this chapter in his life or if the criminal justice system will continue to come for him is something that will keep fans and critics alike on edge. His story, for now, remains one of intense legal battles, unexpected twists, and a lot of questions still left unanswered. Also, when Thug was arrested, he had millions of dollars worth of stuff, including a $300,000 Richard Mille watch. That watch can actually sell for up to $1 million. The state wants to take it, but the thing is, Thug earned it through his music career. And then, just the next day, a cop shows up wearing a similar Richard Mille watch. Coincidence? Maybe not. On the same day, Thug made a call to his lawyer, Brian Steele, during a motivational talk. He was talking about how important it is to help people get out of tough situations, and he even encouraged the group to think about becoming lawyers. He said, "You guys should become lawyers. It's essential to help people out. Do you want to be the ones putting people in prison for mistakes? Everybody makes mistakes. We need more people like Brian Steele, people who want to help, not hurt. Lawyers and doctors, they're the real heroes."